to waste time. Taylor, thank you so much for coming by. Microphone in there for you. Yeah, so with these things, just kind of like eat it. Okay. Put it right up to your mouth. Cheers. Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you. I have a 9 to 5, so really just did that today.
I have a 9 to 5.
I've been sort of shutting down my thick boy media for the year. I've hit all the goals that I set for myself.
Which were?
Just some financial goals, staying busy, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's still a side hustle currently, and so beautiful part of that about that is not paying bills with it necessarily. And I just said let's shut it down, have a little peace.
Awesome. Yeah, nice relaxed holiday. What do you do full time?
I'm a partner account manager for a company called UShip.
Okay.
It's been around since 2004. It's based in Austin. It's an online marketplace for shipping larger than parcel items. And there are some companies that use us a lot, and they need a point of contact.
Yeah.
And so I'm that point of contact.
Okay. So are you like into logistics and stuff like that? Okay.
Yep. I help more on like the tool side of it. It's a tool that both like people that need to ship things and people that want to make money shipping things use. So trying to find ways that make it easier for both sides of the party to use, so they use it more frequently and we make more money.
Do you happen to work with Lovesac?
Not that I know of.
Damn it. All right. Because I ordered that couch like December 3rd.
Okay.
And it's going to take 4 to 6 weeks to get here, and it's still processing.
Is it a gift or is it for yourself?
No, I bought it for myself. It's the first real couch I ever got as an adult. And because prior to that, I was just looking on the side of the street for my couches.
I didn't do too much better. My current couch is from Amazon, and it was like $300.
How long ago did you order it?
Probably like 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay, and is it still good? Is it still holding up?
Yeah.
Okay, because this is an Amazon coffee table, and I was pretty proud that I was able to put it together without without any frustrations. There's a lot of curse words being flung around, but
my whole living room is Wayfair stuff, and it's like
Wayfair. They got me by the ball. I look at everything on Wayfair, from lighting, from shelving. I think I'm gonna get a shelf from them. Actually, I think that one's from IKEA. So yeah, that's you can go down a rabbit hole for sure on Wayfair.
I occasionally get comments from female visitors, very occasionally, that they think I might have a partner, a girlfriend. Like the place just looks nice and clean, and I'm just like, I'm 38. Almost 4. Like I can't have a bachelor pad.
No.
I need to look like I'm an adult. I think I don't feel like it. But
did your parents yell at you for not having a clean room?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was definitely a problem. But now it's the whole thing's my room is still sometimes messy, but where I live and host people, I keep that as clean as I
think there's an acceptable messy quadrant of your room that you're allowed to have for yourself.
But
like
when you have chairs, pants,
but when you have guests, you clean it up. You know, you don't want people to know you live like a slob.
Beautiful thing about having a small apartment. Well, it's 1,000 square feet, so for apartment standards, it's pretty nice. Beautiful thing about having a smaller space is you can clean in about 10 minutes of heads down time. Is like it's clean.
That's why I love this space that I'm in, is because I can take the blower and just blow all the shit out. Just open the garage and just blow it out, and I'm done. Yeah. So maybe got to wipe down the desk and whatnot. But yeah, it's nice being in this environment now, because I was in a bedroom. And the thing with that is we have cats. We have 2 cats. So I'm not going to kick them out, but they're hairy beasts. Yeah. And I can knit a sweater every time I vacuum the house. So do you have any pets?
I have a dog.
Okay.
Sort of the same thing. He's got long hair though, so it cleans up pretty easily. It's not like sometimes they have like short hair. And it's embedded in front of, and he's got long hair, so it sheds a lot, but like it is easy to get up.
That Dyson vacuum on the wall. Oh my God! It is the best. It was $300, but it has been the best investment I've ever had.
I'm about to get another one because
I want 2 of them. Yeah, exactly. I've heard that they don't last very long, but this has lasted for I think over a year now, and it's the best investment I made.
When I switched apartments, it was that 3 or 4 year mark when I got that Amazon couch and got the Dyson the same time. So it's been 3 or 4 years.
Right on. Yeah.
There are things that are like don't work as well, but it's still the little ball on the back end cracked, and it still works. I still empty a lot of hair out of that thing every time I use it.
Before I forget, I've been asking my buddies to send me like Resolute Media commercials.
Okay.
And so we're going to go ahead and read one of them right off the bat.
A little ad time?
Yeah, a little ad for Resolute Media because, we ain't that big yet, but we'll get there. Hopefully.
Is this a paid ad, or is you practicing ad work?
This
Are
is
you pitching to future people and say this could be you.
I don't know. Depending on this commercial, we'll see if we get any future sponsors.
Okay.
But this one was done by my buddy Mike. Resolute Media. When you want headshots, because I'm a photographer, but not the kind reserved for healthcare CEOs.
Oh, okay. That's not bad. It's a little. I watch a lot of Norm Macdonald TikToks, and it's very like Norm Macdonald show.
Well, thanks, Mike, for that commercial. But
little tagline, yeah.
Yeah, a tagline. That's what he called it. That's what it is. I call it a commercial. Whatever. I'm promoting myself.
Yeah.
But speaking of commercials and companies, AustinEater.
AustinEater.
How long has that account been around for? Your
since
account?
2017.
2017. Okay.
I moved here in April of 2017, and I had something very small and just a smaller page going in Indianapolis where I moved from.
Okay.
And I had been doing it for like 3 months. It was basically a result of posting a lot of pictures of food on my personal account.
Yeah.
And my friends giving me some feedback that was sort of annoying. So I was like, well, I'll just start a food page then. You guys can follow if you want. So no goal in mind, no experience, like zero thought went into it. And for the most part, I still don't really have any goals or rule. Like, it's just a fun way initially for me to like show my friends and family back home what I was up to, where I was going, and to hold myself accountable to keep trying new places in a new city.
I think it's worked out quite well for you.
It's definitely been the most consistent thing I've done ever. So that's good. I've been a big idea guy and haven't done hardly any of them. I have a lot of great ideas, but I need to like delegate. And so
it's very hard to do that when you have all those ideas in your head, and it's like trying to formulate sentences to get it out. It's tough. I get that.
Yep.
So what brought you to Austin?
I was 30 years old. I was downsized at work, which is different than being fired. My mom reminds me. And I was just getting my license back from an interesting decision I made. So pretty low point in my life. Not a lot going for me. Single. And I was like, I had one friend from back home that lived here at the time. He's since moved back to Indianapolis. But he was here, and he actually worked at UShip and kind of was encouraging me every time I had a little gap in my life to like come down and check it out. And I just figured if I went down to Austin and everything sucked, or I sucked at being out of Indy, then I could come back and really be in the exact same spot. Very low point. There's a very low risk move.
Right.
A lot of potential upside. And first time living alone, I just took a long time for me to grow up, which is kind of a privilege, I think, in some ways.
For sure.
Like, it wasn't a good result initially. I was just, I needed to leave my safety nest and like my group of friends and family that just always were there for me, and just do some shit on my own.
Was that scary? Moving on your own?
No, it was exciting. No, I was confident that I could figure stuff out. I was 30. I should be able to, and I did.
I mean, it's not necessarily about the age; it's about experience. I would say.
I had a lot of experience, a lot of different experiences in my 20s, but I just never monetized them.
Yeah. Did you go to college?
Yep.
Where'd you go?
It took me 6 years to graduate with a general studies degree.
A lot of people go to school for
they're called
8
doctors.
years.
I graduated from IU, Indiana University.
Okay, cool.
But I never spent a second on the actual campus as a student. Spent a lot of time socializing.
And that's the best part about college,
Honestly, that's one of the main things that like is actually a benefit. If you're a doctor or brain surgeon, of course, like for most people, I think you really learn how to network, and you make some good connections that can almost every job I've ever had has been a result of knowing somebody and either learning something from them or being introduced to the hiring manager.
The last thing on my mind during college was networking. I just thought we were going to parties to have fun because that's what you do.
Yeah, I was really good at that initially, and then I had to move back home because of that. So
I will say, don't you think it's a little irresponsible for colleges to have 8 a.m. classes? Who do they think is going to show up to these classes?
I for a while did because
I think it's one big racket.
I was doing these weird split shifts with my sleep. I thought the most dead time on campus was like 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. because everyone's like eating and doing homework, working out, or 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. because people were finally done partying. It's like, I'll just sleep then and I'll get the most out of life. And so I did that for like 6 months. And
oh, wow.
Maybe not 6 months, maybe like 2 months. But
okay.
I think it caught up to me. Good. But it was an interesting experience.
Well, at least you could say you did it.
Yeah.
So what sparked the idea that you could, or like what made you want to take photos of all these, incredible foods that you're eating?
Well, I think that's it. It's I was always interested in taking pictures, Instagram stuff, but I just didn't spend a lot of time. I spent a lot of time doing sports in college and my younger, like high school, college, a little after college. And when I got older, I was less athletic, and sports aren't that fun. It used to like running fast and jumping high, and all of a sudden you can't do that. They're not as fun. So I found other ways to fill my time. But as that AustinEater page started to grow, I started to get invited places that I couldn't afford, but like had nice, cool food.
Right.
When I moved here at 30, the most I ever made, well, the year before I moved here, I made normal adult money. Yeah. For 10 months before I was downsized.
Okay.
But before then, the most I made was like $32,000 a year, which even back 10 years ago is not that much money. I moved here at like $40,000 a year, and it was $1,000 a month for my apartment. So I just didn't have a lot of extra money.
Yeah.
So I usually skip breakfast. I got free lunch at work at UShip.
Nice.
We had some amazing chefs. And so when I went out, I'd take some pictures of some food I never had. It's cost effective just to go to a taco truck as anything else. But I eventually got invited to some places that I couldn't afford and would never go. And I was like, oh, this is beautiful stuff. I think this is the key. And I still feel like good percentage of beautiful pictures is what you're taking the picture of. So I was like, I'm getting access to beautiful food. I should maybe take my old dusty T2i camera and try to take some pictures. Yep. And I thought they were awesome at the time, and now looking back, they're not as awesome.
Isn't that just a slap in the face? Like, oh, this is so cool, and then you look back and like, God, that was so shitty.
That's why I love photography and the media stuff. There's always a new technique or something else to learn, and there's always room for growth. It's like, for sure, the gamification of life is like, there's always the next level.
I'm glad you said that, because that's how I feel about social media. It's just a game to me now. It's like, how can we grow this thing doing the stuff that I like doing now?
It's I feel less confident now than ever. Like, it's always changing, and it's like, I don't know.
So was the AustinEater page, did you have to change the name, or when did you first start seeing the page grow and get traction?
It's been very steady. I have never had like a crazy boom. It seems like it's almost been 8 to 10 to 12,000 a year of growth. And this year's probably the last like 3 or 4 months have really slowed down. Okay. And it sucks, but also haven't stressed that much. It's a big enough number down that it's like, it's still helpful and attracts some business for Thick Boy Media. But yeah, it's super consistent. And at the time in 2017, it was still images and copywriting. It was very, very easy to differentiate myself because the authenticity that is winning today, like on TikTok and Instagram, didn't really exist in like the influencer space. It was very procured images, very stylized, beautiful ladies laughing at a salad, you know, like, or looking off into the distance. And it's like, so the moment I got on there and I wrote my copy like I was texting my friends, and I was just normal, it was easy to stand out. I look back now and like so jealous of past, like I would post a picture of a sexy cheeseburger, and they were fine pictures, and it did show, like, I tried to make them nice images that you know, I didn't know much about photography, so it was all phone stuff.
Yeah.
And they weren't ugly, they were well lit and in focus, but they weren't like doctored, and they weren't like this big table, this big spread,
sure,
like you see on some pages still. But it was just very easy to separate myself with the copy or the captions, just kind of being normal and poking fun at
do you consider yourself a copywriter now?
I would be confident in doing that if someone asked me to.
Yeah.
Especially with ChatGPT now.
Oh, that's all I use for all these videos. I take the transcript from this episode, I throw it in Gemini, and it just pumps out everything that I need. Whereas before, when I was having to write my own descriptions in my full-time videographer job way back when, like, I would have to come up with this stuff in my head. I'm like, oh my God, and it was riddled with spelling errors. And
that's the main thing. I think it
sucked. I hated it.
I don't do it often, but when I write little blogs for AustinEater's website, I enjoy it, but the grammatical stuff catches me sometimes. I'll look at the same thing like 4 times, like, all right, it's good to go, and hit publish, and then
you're like,
as soon as I visit it live, I'm like, what how did I miss? Yeah, so I don't, like, I have some hardcore ADHD, and I can get the ideas out, but polishing them up isn't always my strength.
Do you remember the first like real paid gig that you got through your Instagram? Because it was so long ago. You've done so many.
It might have been, actually, one of the first things I did was with Hop Dottie, and it was copywriting, actually.
Okay.
It was before COVID, so before Reels, and it was still the still images and copy. And somebody that followed me either worked there or suggested that they reach out to me. Oh, I think it was my boy John Scotty. You know John Scotty? He's got a good page on Instagram.
I don't know.
You should know him if you don't know him.
Yeah.
I'll share it with you.
All right, please.
I think he was doing some video work for him at the time, and they asked if he knew anybody that basically spoke like internet lingo. Because they were all
SEO?
Like, well, not that, like, just like
spoke internet,
like
combining emojis in.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Like just like a little more trendy vernacular and like that kind of stuff, just to resonate with people, and I think to be a little more authentic versus like a marketing person putting together copy for Instagram.
Okay.
And he suggested me, and that's one of the ways that I started to expand the video stuff, pictures initially. Yeah. Got in as a copywriter. Then COVID happened. They had to let go of a lot of people. I was like this freelance dude that got like $200 a month or something. So like, might as well keep this guy. We need him. And so they were kind of bare bones, and they'd go do photo shoots, and I would ask if I could join and bring my camera. And eventually my pictures were just as good, if not better, than what they were getting for the day-to-day stuff.
Sure, yeah.
And so I interjected and was like, I can do some of this other stuff. And so just kind of took on some more responsibility there. And really, that's the way I've stuck around at UShip too, is like, I can do a lot of this.
Yeah.
I feel like I was just talking to somebody the other day. I was like, I should have a reality TV show. I think most guys probably feel this way. Like, they have an inflated sense of self where, like, I feel like I could do almost any job, surgery, stuff like, you know, I can't do, but like 80%, throw me into the office, give me like half a day. You'll
figure it out.
Yeah.
It's not rocket. It's not rocket appliances.
Exactly. And that's one of the benefits. I spoke earlier about all the different experiences I had in my 20s. I did a lot of different shit, and I did fine at all of it.
Yeah.
So I am confident that I could figure stuff out.
When you're going, one of the things that I really respect about you is like, I remember you saying in a story, like if you're trying to do this influencer foodie thing, don't ask the restaurant, just go there, spend your money, like, and just be a fan first, essentially. Yeah. How did you know, like, why did that come up in your brain? Like, how is that the way to go about it?
It made the most sense. Like, it's so cringy and cheesy. And I would go even a step further. Like, one thing I did do when I was trying to be proactive and create some relationships with places and grow a little bit, I would just send some DMs. Now it's reversed.
No, now they're coming to you.
But I would just say, is there any way I can help you with can I help you? And oftentimes, that's 80% of the time they would say, yeah, we'd love for you to come in and try this. We want to push it. And so I would get the free food, but the relationship was, now I'm coming to do them a favor versus, hey, can you give me free food?
Yeah.
And it's like the same exact end result, but the power is shifted and like they're asking me to come in versus me. And so it just is much more palatable. And so I had done that occasionally. Like, is there anything I can do to help you? And sometimes it's just like, yeah, repost the story, or do you have feedback on that? Like, it's very easy stuff. So just trying to come from a point of view of how can I help you? And then
what problems can I solve for you?
Organic, healthy way to start relationships.
That is, and I totally jive with that, but there's no but in that. I think what new people with cameras tend to forget is that we're people with cameras, and literally anybody with a camera, especially phones nowadays, can do what we do. So
it's pretty hard to separate yourself.
It is. And I've, there's still today, I've been doing this 12 years now. There's still jobs that I do for free because I can see an opportunity there. I can see me fitting in that. And if it allows for my schedule,
it's a new type of content you're capturing. I need practice.
Right. Exactly. Sports photography is something I want to get into. So that's, hopefully we can accomplish that next year, but no, it pays. I hate to say this, but it pays to do stuff for free because
it's an investment.
It gives exactly. And I could never.
It's very short-sighted.
It is. Yeah. I remember when I'm trying to crack into the music industry, everyone always asks me, like, what's my price? I'm like, well, shit, what is my price? Is $500 too much? Is $1,000 too much? I don't know.
What's your budget?
Yeah, I hate that conversation. How much do you charge? Well, how much exactly? What's your budget? So I think doing stuff for free kind of like makes you like there's no you don't really have skin in the game. There's no pressure. Yeah, if you fuck up,
can't
then
disappoint them.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you might get cool in today's day and age where you need content for your own stuff. It's like that's a lot of what I did was very cheap. I had a lot of photographer friends that were like, "Dude, you're killing us." I'm like, I want an experience. I want stuff for my own portfolio.
Right. Yeah.
And that I'm either going to pay for it, or I could maybe charge them and end up charging them too much, and then under deliver what I promised, and then that relationship's dead.
Yeah.
Or I can do a reasonable price or free, and like I need the practice here.
Yeah.
So I'm basically getting paid to practice, even if it's a little. It's getting paid to practice this stuff, and that again just kind of keeps a healthy relationship. I think.
Yeah, I never really understood why other photographers would say, "Oh, you should be charging way more." I'm like, dude, you're not in my life. You don't know what I'm trying to accomplish. So I respect that you charge a certain amount, but that's your business. My business is different. And, I'm trying to do something different than you. So please fuck off. No, I'm kidding. But seriously.
I think you can pick and choose when to get your big chunks.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Like the big client comes and it's a huge budget and they kind of don't give a shit. Like they just need it because it's some marketing person told somebody else to do this and they need deliverables.
Yeah.
So just give us something. And and of course I do the best I can, but like you can get some good money there, and then you're friendly with the food truck down the street, and you try to help them out. And, I always try to. Again, I know it because I'm not paying bills with my things. It's different, and I'm very lucky. I say I'm lucky, but
no. You've grinded it out.
Yeah.
You've hustled to this point, so I wouldn't say it's luck, but it's also hard work too.
Yeah, I'm like, well, you get a 9 to 5 then, and then you can do what I'm doing. Like,
yeah.
But just in that, I don't have to look for the people that have the budget today, but I can build a relationship and hopefully build them to the place where, okay, now you're successful enough that you need pictures and you need to level up. And I'm the first person they think of because I've helped them
I think your account definitely has the data that proves the value of what you can offer. And that was something when I first started, I'm like, I don't know whether or not this video is going to do well for your business because there's nothing I can prove. Yeah. I'm just going to make a good video for you. And if you like it, then I hope it does well for you.
Yeah.
But I think your business model is very, very important because you have the data to back up what you're doing and you can justify your price, which is awesome. What the hell
nice.
was I going to say?
I do some photography and videography and I have the AustinEater page. So it's a nice compliment. I think a lot of people are looking for one or the other.
Yeah.
Or one and then the other.
Yeah.
And so it's not, I'm not the best at either, but I think I'm kind of a unique offering. And
you are.
I'm like RIP Valentina's, but sort of like Valentina's was barbecue, and breakfast tacos.
Yeah.
Like, this is where you need to go. It's your one-stop shop.
Oh.
I'm a little one-stop shop. Like, I'm your reach and your content.
Do you live in this area, South Austin, or
South? I thought I did, and then I drove 45 minutes to get here.
Oh, no, dude,
I'm kidding. That wasn't 45 minutes. I live near St. Ed, so
okay,
not that far.
Okay. Me and my buddy, my good friend Sal, we lived like right up the road in bachelor pad house, and we would drive to their food truck right off Brody. And it was just kind of in a gas station. And we're like, man, this place is good. And they moved a little further south. And then we started like, okay, the food's still good, but the wait's long.
Yep.
And then once they moved to Kyle, I'm like, oh, I'll never have them again, except when I go to like Q2 Stadium. But yeah, they didn't do very well, did they?
Well,
they were doing well, but they didn't make smart business decisions.
Miguel's back open again.
Really?
He's got a truck down south. It's him and someone else, but he's
okay.
there, and it's same food. It's called La Familia.
Okay. They're rebranded.
Yeah.
Anyways, so as you're kind of doing this thing, and what was the big restaurant that kind of made you go, wow, this is where I'm at now? Is there one?
I have a very weird memory. Like, I've done a lot of things. I will say recently, I got to work with Uchi, and just like
nice
a name standpoint, that's a big
deal. Yeah.
And we have a live giveaway right now, currently still, and they like wanted to collab with it's like Uchiko, Uchiba.
Oh, nice
hospitality group. So that's cool.
Have you ever met Josh Wiseman? Do you know who he is?
I've seen him a lot lately.
He's on.
Yeah.
He's a big YouTuber guy, and I follow a lot of his recipes. And I think he worked at Uchi at one point. So there's a video that he put out. I'm like, oh shit, that's where I go to eat the happy hour. Yeah, I think I might have saw a picture.
He either posted. No, I don't know. Oh, I think it was Matthew Odom actually, who's the local food. You know who he is? He's a food critic for the Statesman. I think.
I don't know who he is. Sorry.
He posted a picture from OG days at Uchi, and it was like Tyson and Paul Key, and who he does. I think he does Eastside Kings, but he does Top Row now. It's a new restaurant downtown. Anyway, a bunch of people that like all have gone on to have their own. Yoshi, who does a Toko.
I'm familiar with Yoshi.
A bunch of folks that had their own like thing now.
Okay.
By the time I moved here, they were already their own established brands, and I didn't know all the history that kind of goes back to Uchi, and like that coaching tree, if you want to call that the chef tree, is like really started, I think, at Uchi for a lot of Austin, and people don't know how much of an impact that had.
Do you think you could ever do this full time?
I do. Well, I don't know. AustinEater has slowed down, like growth wise, a little bit, and things keep changing, and it's a pain in the ass to chase the trends around, and that part of things I don't want to do full time. The media side of things I could, because I truly enjoy that. It's what I would do for fun.
Yeah.
If I don't have anything to do, I go walk my dog and take my camera and take pictures. Like, I enjoy doing that. So I think that side of things I could. I still think I could be helpful in some sort of consulting role, social media, But I wouldn't want to do like the AustinEater thing forever.
No.
I mean, no, it's a grind. Like it's stressful, and like I don't know, especially if it's not going to be as helpful. Like lately, it's been 2 or 3 videos a week that do really well and reach a lot, and 2 or 3 that just like do nothing. And that,
why do you think that is?
They're always changing stuff, and I don't know. I'm not either. I don't know. It used to be a little more formulaic, like, okay, I know what to do. Let me go do that. And it would work.
And then you would get the numbers.
Like, I don't know. And so I feel like how that wraps back to the business side of things, I just feel bad if I took some sort of contract or business and it was one of the posts that tanked. Like, I'm like, that's why I still don't charge unless it's some big company that offers a lot of money. I don't charge for AustinEater posts. I'll bundle it into some photography and video stuff to like, there's some value here, but you're paying for pictures, but also like there's value with the AustinEater stuff, and just being like in the ecosystem for me to mention and think about often publicly. But yeah, I don't know. I did some numbers actually recently because I just got a good deal with HopDotty. I've grown that relationship, and now they kind of are doing this package thing where it's a monthly post on AustinEater plus a couple hours of some photography per month.
Good for you, man. That's awesome.
So that's kind of the hybrid thing is where I would like to live.
When you are going to these companies to negotiate a price, I think one thing I've learned is, so I was hired by a roofing company that installs skylights. And they asked me for like, how much do you think this is going to cost? I'm like, well, shit, I don't know. It's fucking skylights. So let me see how the average cost of a skylight.
Yeah.
And I think it was like $6,000-$7,000. I'm like, okay. So we're going to film the entire process of it from start to finish. So I sent them like, I think it was like $1,500, which I thought they would reject it. But when you factor in that if they show that video to a potential client and it's easy sell, then that $1,500 is nothing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what clicked in my brain. Was like, okay, what is the industry that they're working in? What is the average cost of what they're going to get, and how do I fluctuate my? Yeah, exactly.
What's the video gonna? How many jobs? Is the video
exactly. And how much? What's the long-term commitment that I could potentially make with this client? If
that's the other thing.
So
it's like, is there going to be an ongoing relationship?
Right. Yeah.
Or just one and done? Because if it's a slow burn, I could take a couple $100 off.
Right.
Because I'm going to get it in the long run.
Yeah. So when people come to you, what are you thinking about in regards to like price points and working relationships?
I have sort of a minimum now that I work with.
It's on your website, right? I think it is.
I haven't touched that for probably 18 months.
Okay, so
I do not, but I do have something on there, and that
you got to update that because I've sent a few people hey, check out this website. And I talk to
them like it's usually when I end up talking to people, it ends up being a little less because I have that on there in case some bigger company came around and looked at that and wanted to hit me up, and I'm just a little protected.
Sure.
There, but yeah, I don't charge for AustinEater stuff, and unless there's some sort of bundle with Thick Boy Media stuff,
right?
Or it's just some big like Chewy's hit me up, and they've been a great partner.
Awesome.
But it was like a week after that, they just got bought out by somebody for like 270 some crazy million. So I was like, I think I can ask for like $1,000. So I don't really want to do this. Right. It doesn't fit what I would normally cover, and they just got a ton of money. So I'm gonna give them. I would rather not rate of like $1,000.
Yeah.
And they said yes and paid like the same day I did the stuff. So I was like, you're a great partner. Whatever you want to do in the future, let's do it. And we've done a couple more things since then. But yeah, I have like a minimum that I think about in my head, and I talk to them, and then it really depends on the client because I'm not paying bills with things. I give them a price, and I tell, I try to over communicate. I'm happy to work with you. I want to be compensated for my time, but I'm not going to like max out your budget.
Right.
Maybe I am, but I'm not. That's not my intention. Is to figure out how much money I can get from you.
Yeah. Well, that's playing the price point game with clients is not fun.
Yeah.
And it's the worst part of my job that I hate doing. But to your point of like, I'm not here to do it for free, but also I don't want to bend you over. So let's talk about the food scene here in Austin. And have you been to other cities that have a food scene?
Not for any period of long time.
That's what I figured.
Like weekends, but
right?
It's not enough to
but
get it.
You spend so much time here in Austin. How have you seen it grow?
Lots. First off, it's grown a lot.
Yeah.
It has evolved a little bit, but really, it just it's grown enough that it's impossible to keep up with everything. It's impossible to try everything. The traffic is bad enough that I don't want to go anywhere north.
Oh, you're getting old now. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
It's not good. That's one of the biggest downfalls of a 9 to 5. Even though I work from home, I can't leave the house usually, and so like sitting on the interstate, it's miserable.
It sucks.
Yeah. Excuse me. I almost think it's grown too much. I've been talking about this with my friends lately. I'm like, if there was 30% less restaurants, every place would be busy. The prices wouldn't be so crazy.
Yeah.
We'd have good service everywhere. Like, I think it's too many restaurants. Like, I want to support as many as I can, but I feel like there's too much going on. It's too much to keep up with. It's too much to support. Everyone's half full, so they have to charge.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that. Okay.
Like, I don't know. It's wild.
So do you think there's going to be some sort of like market correction in the future?
I am not an expert, but the more I learn about things and how life works, I would think that that's probably the case. I know growth in Austin in general has slowed and maybe gone the other direction for the first time in a very long time. So yeah, I think there's going to be some correction for sure.
What is your go-to taco truck? If you had to pick, let's say pick 3.
Well, Paprika is up there. It's a great taco truck on Lamar, right across from flower shop called Yellow Rose. I think that's what it goes on there.
I've never been there ever.
Paprika, Veracruz, obviously, great spot, great people. Quantos is fantastic. Hitting all the spots that people know and love. La Santa Barbacha, Contodo. These are kind of friends now as well, so I'm a little biased.
All right,
but those kind of spots, I would love to find a new good one. I haven't been on the hunt. One of the things I'm doing with my kind of shutting off the thick boy media side of things, I'm dedicating some time to go search some places.
Go explore. Man, that sounds like a terrible job. Man, you really got it tough.
I know.
Smash Burger joint. What's your go-to spot?
Probably NADC. They get you love or hate?
My thing is, it's a good quarterly burger.
Okay.
They're priced higher for good reason. It's just I don't want to spend $30 for a burger, fries, and beer.
Yeah.
You know, again, it's a good quarterly burger that I like. My favorite spot is Patty's Palace by San Elmo. That's my go-to spot. I will. Yeah.
Buddy's Burgers is good too. I don't know if they're
Yep, I've had those.
Technically smash burgers, but
aren't they a bit smaller. Aren't they a franchise though as well?
Not really.
Okay.
Sort of. It's actually I think a couple siblings and a friend that when I first met them 2 or 3 years ago, they were just out of like business school at UT. So very small family, but they do have a second location in San Marcos.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. So that's all that they have. They just have the 2 locations.
I will say NADC just moved to Luster Pearl South right down the street from us.
Oh, nice.
And so I need to go get my quarterly burger because it's been a minute.
I think we need to make burgers thick again.
Dude, no. I'm sorry. I respect that idea, but I've eaten so many thick burgers at all the restaurants that I used to go to when I didn't know what I want. And I'm just a big fan of the smash burger because I don't feel like a pile of shit after I could crush 2 smash burgers easily from Patty's Palace and crush like 3 Carl's. But why do you think they should be thick again?
It's one, the trendy thing. I saw something recently that was like, trendy is, the step before cringy in the evolution of like whatever, So they're verging up on being cringy. Oh. They're like overdone, and too often they're not done the right way. It ends up being too smashed.
It's okay.
And I just want my beef to bite into.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and plug them because they just became my highest paying client, Hop Dottie. big juicy burgers.
We support Hop Dottie. I can support a good Hop Dottie.
They always have great monthly burgers. They're always a huge hit.
I think that was the first burger joint that I really appreciated when they opened up here in Austin. I'm like, okay, this is a good burger. There was a line out the ass, rightfully so, because it was good. But no, I respect what they do. And there's one in Midland, Texas, where my parents used to live. So
nice.
I knew I was going to get a good burger there. So we take them out and
great ingredients.
Fries are delicious. Yep. Oh my God, those garlic parm, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're like a truffle.
Yeah, there you go. That's
parm. Yeah. And then they do a great chicken sandwich now too.
Really?
At most of their locations. The South Congress one is old enough and the kitchen isn't built to add that type of fryer. They need to use a different fryer than the fries for the vegetarians. You can't mix the fryers apparently.
Right. Yeah.
But all the other ones have fryers, and the chicken tenders and chicken sandwich is really good there too.
So kind of going off that cringy social, I really hate it when people do skits. It's just not my thing. I just immediately turn off. Just, average moms or soccer moms doing skits. I'm just like, stop it. I can't watch this.
You mean like TikTok dances or what?
That TikTok dances, but when they're like voicing over or doing some voiceover work of like a previous video, it's just, I hate it. Like, that's why I enjoy your content so much. It's because it's about the food, it's about the story within the restaurant, and that's what I appreciate about your account. I also don't like it when people post a story of the most horrific thing going on the other side of the world, and immediately the next story is like a nice puppy or something. Yeah. I'm like, I don't like any of this. My emotions are just way too, it's like a roller coaster. But in the grand scheme of things of social media, how do we deal with it as humans? Because I feel like it's a very new thing that we're encountering as humans. How would you say that we're dealing with it right now?
Probably not well. I don't think we're dealing with it well.
That's the answer I was hoping you would give.
Yeah, it's. I always like to listen to my 70s or 80s country music and kind of long for like a much simpler life. The reality is that's not where we're at.
No.
And I do enjoy the phone just as much as anyone else, but I'm very aware that this is not good, and it's probably not a long-term solution for how people spend their time.
Yeah, well, I've been kind of telling some of the music artists on here, like, if you want to get eyeballs on you, it's a good tool to have, but I think it's a new tool that we're experiencing as humans, and we need to learn how to use it.
Yeah.
Because doom scrolling all day is not good for your mental health.
Yep.
But don't get me wrong, the accounts that I do follow, I love watching that stuff. I love my friends showing like their family life, because I'm not part of it, but I like seeing their kids growing up and doing cool stuff with their parents.
I get both the negative and the positive, I think, from social media, because
there is
I scroll on AustinEater and I look at other people's stuff, and I'm like either being a hater or like jealous and comparing my page to like their numbers, and like, how did that get, that. But on the Thick Boy page, I'm like, you just get a lot of inspiration and look at people's stuff and try to like reverse engineer like how'd they shoot that, like, so like I get the dynamic of both things, and probably using it as kind of differently than a lot of the consumers.
Yeah.
Kind of analyzing things. I don't want to make myself sound like I think I'm smart, but like that's kind of probably what I'm doing, looking at things and either trying to figure out how I can do that so that I can get good numbers all the time, or how I can get nice content. So I'm just kind of trying to figure out how to play the game the whole time.
Yeah. One of the things that I used to get jealous of other people's content, and then like I would talk shit about them, like, God, that video sucks. That color corrections is so terrible. Why would this company hire this individual? And then as I matured, I'm like, well, they got that job probably because they worked their ass off. Yeah. And Ramon, you're just being a hater.
Yeah.
You're being a little bitch about it. So why don't you do more? Why don't you go out and shoot everything all the time, everywhere? And that's kind of been my mindset, is that I'm going to take every job that comes my way right now for the foreseeable future until like I find that red line. I'm like, enough is enough, because I feel like you kind of have to put yourself through the grinder to, figure out who you are as an individual in this workspace.
Yeah.
And then once you figure that out, you realize, man, this is a lot of hard work. And those individuals that I used to be jealous of, this is what they did to get to this point, to get the views.
Yeah.
And so how do you not feel the sense of jealousy when you're like, when you see those numbers, like, damn, that video sucked, but it got so much views,
I mean, there's a lot of things that do well on Instagram that are cringy that we just talked like, and you have to.
It's so cringe.
Like the videos that do best for me are when I like.
When you dance?
Feeling a little rambunctious and do something that's a little hyperbolic or silly and like that hook at the beginning. That's not really where I would like to live in regards to the content that I create.
Right.
But I also need my page to be relevant for it to be helpful to the places I want to help. So I try to balance like do a cheesy post or two a week to bring in that new audience and then feed them normal shit.
Yeah.
And like hopefully some of them stick around and like it. It's not going super well, but I'm more like comfortable and like I go around and people either don't know who I am or they like my stuff, and chefs and the owners of restaurants respect me and like how I approach things.
Yeah.
And that's a little more important to me than like having 120,000 followers instead of 80,000, you know?
That's, I mean, how do you, I'm like at 1,800 right now, and I'm like, this is a lot for me. This is the most I've ever had. I can't fathom having the potential of, 80,000 people look at me on a 24/7 basis. Does that scare you? How does that make you feel?
I think I've
or you just don't care. Okay.
Yeah, I don't. I don't know
put
how
a filter on that.
I've got a lot of good feedback so far. Every now and then there's some people, but usually it's when your stuff reaches a broader audience than it normally does and people are unfamiliar with you that you get some like weird comments. But
so how do you deal with those comments? Do you take it personally or you're just like, whatever?
Initially it pisses me off or, but yeah, like publicly my response is usually just if they're just blatantly wrong, I'll correct them.
Yeah.
Or if it's an opinion thing,
you'll engage.
I'll ignore them. And half the time I just go to their page and block them. I'm like, you don't follow me. What the fuck are you? I don't know if we can say F word.
We can. This is Pints of Professionals.
Are you commenting? Like, you don't follow me. This is like, so I don't even engage. I just go block them. Like, you don't need to see any of my other stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's because I'm always in the comments just reading. And there's some clever individuals and they're pretty comedic and they're pretty spot on. There's savages out there. And those are the people that I'm afraid of because I get my feelings hurt sometimes.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, yeah. Initially, I'm like, I just don't like anyone. My mom could text me and tell me I'm wrong about something and I wouldn't like it. So I'm just a little too prideful probably. But overall, try to ignore them.
Yeah.
If they're blatantly wrong, I can confidently snap back and I don't have a problem with that. But most of the time, just ignore them and block them.
The whole thing with this social media thing is now you have the ability, whatever thought is in your head, you can put it out there. And sometimes those thoughts don't need to be on the internet. Sometimes you just need to see in your head. One of the most surprising
things about the page's success is that I am not always a great decision maker. And I say what's on my mind a lot.
Yeah.
And it's not always the best thing. And knock on wood, but so far, haven't said in a world, in a city where it's easy to like say the wrong thing and get canceled or whatever. I've been very good. I've been on my best behavior.
Yeah, but I think it's also a tribute to just you being authentic. Like, even if you said some wild shit, I don't think it would be.
I'm also terrible. Not an asshole. Like, I don't have a lot of horrible thoughts going through my head all the time. But I just occasionally can say something stupid. And if there's a big group of people watching me, that could go bad. And luckily, I've not messed that up.
What does your mom think of all of this? Does she like it? I mean, I'm sure she's supportive.
She is supportive. She was very mad. I just did a post recently about like a little history of me.
Yeah.
And I literally 10 minutes before I did the post, I was like, oh, I should probably post something today. I didn't post anything yesterday. And I was like, oh, I haven't I see all these introduction posts and I really haven't done that. And I have 80,000 followers. I should probably do something like that.
Yeah.
That would be an easy one because I know myself pretty well.
I would hope so.
And so I was like, went through my phone, found like 6 pictures that I could post, zero thought into it, 8 minutes between finding or thinking of the idea, posting it. And I didn't happen to include a picture with my mom or my mom.
Man, that's a big mistake. That's where you fucked up.
Yeah. The first message I got was like, "Oh, you did all this without a mom. That's impressive." I was like, I didn't even think about it. It's for me, first off, like I would hate to actually have any sort of an audience or a platform like this is ridiculous, Mom. Yeah, I don't know what you're. So she's very engaged and watching, but she's proud of me. I was never a great student. I was a C student all the time.
Nay, D for the diploma, baby.
Yep. And so I didn't have I didn't think I didn't know what I would do. I never had a plan as far as like being an adult. I didn't think I would be successful. I don't think, if I'm being honest. So I just turned out pretty normal and kind of successful so far. So I think she's very proud.
That's awesome.
And a lot of credit goes to her and my dad because like I definitely fucked up a lot. And if I had different parents or different friends, I would not be here. Like they were definitely bumpers.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I think that's what kind of I used to have a bad attitude towards the homeless. Like I'm like, just fix your life, you know.
Yeah.
Why are you living under the overpass? But in reality, like I sort of changed my tune when I started meeting people who actually work with them, and then you realize they don't have a support system.
Yeah.
They probably don't have, you know, parents that care. They don't have family members that care. Like that's why they're living on the street.
Yep.
So my tune is changed to like, yeah, because they don't have the support system I do. I could very well be under that same bridge.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's awesome that your parents have helped you out.
Definitely. Yeah.
Because some parents don't, and some kids don't have, you know, parents.
Yep.
So I think we're lucky in that aspect. Do you ever suffer from imposter syndrome?
Definitely. Yeah, all the time.
How do you work through that?
I have not worked. I still feel that way. I mean, obviously, you know, you can look at some of the analytics and stuff on page for AustinEater. My little side hustle bank account, I can look at that and like, oh, things are working.
Yeah.
But I always feel like tomorrow it could all like go away.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. You know, the sun could explode tomorrow.
For sure. Depend like I don't know, Instagram, TikTok's about to get shut down.
Thank God.
Things could get shut down. Who knows? A lot of things could happen. So I'm grateful, but I am not like, I don't think I'm set for sure.
Yeah. Last night I was like, oh, I'm going to interview Taylor, and there's a brief moment of panic. Like, why the hell am I doing this? Like, why am I so stressed out about this? It's just a conversation. We're not doing anything like crazy.
Yeah.
And then that kind of just settles me down a little bit. But even when I go out on jobs for other clients, I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? Why me? Like, there's so many other people who are talented, but for whatever reason, it works. And then I get into the job and I just, you know, turn on autopilot and we get the job done. But yeah, imposter syndrome is something that I feel I'll never escape.
Yeah, I agree. Again, it's super real, but I listen to a lot of Neil deGrasse has a podcast, something to do with the universe, of course.
Yeah.
And I hate to sound too like mushroomy. I haven't done mushrooms, but I probably should.
It doesn't sound like you're a fun guy.
But like, there's a lot more in the world than like. I'm very lucky. Food on my plate. I got multiple streams of income. Like, it's okay, and I'll figure stuff out. Like, and ultimately, it's a short trip for all of us on the globe. And like, I don't know. Sometimes I just have very big picture views of things. I'm like, whatever. Like, it will be fine. I had a good boss a long time ago. It's never as good as it seems. It's never as bad as it seems. Like, things will be okay. Like, it'll be fine. Except
when you get that one email from a client who doesn't like anything that you do, and then you have a moment of panic. You're like, oh my God.
I have been having to do like some re-edits lately with like higher paying clients. Not
videos?
Really videos.
Okay.
Different clips that they want.
What are they asking for?
Well, sometimes it's just throwing a logo on, which is super easy. But sometimes it's just we didn't like this, or we didn't think about him wearing that hat.
Oh,
we didn't think. I'm like, well,
how am I supposed to know that? Yeah, I can't read your minds.
Yeah, like, can we remove all those? I'm like, I guess. But to be honest, it's a lot of, in my opinion, as someone that does both sides of things and is pretty realistic, I don't think most people would care about any of the edits that I've ever gotten asked to like redo. Like, this is one reel on your page of things that, like, you know, hopefully a lot of people look at it, but like no one's thinking the way you're thinking.
Right. How do you guide your client through that? Like, how do you tell them not to worry about the details, the minute details that shouldn't matter?
Yeah. I mean, I try to just have a sense of knowledge and experience and say, like, I've been doing this for a long time. I could tell you, you're overthinking this. You're
wrong. No,
but also, like, if they're the client is paying me, then sure, whatever.
Right.
Like, you're the boss.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion, it's not going to matter. I don't think, like, so yeah, I just try to meet people where they are, I guess. With that. But, yeah, I think a lot of the times with the bigger clients, it's somebody reached out to me and they told their boss that they could work with us, and like they told someone else. And so it's just like this huge chain of command, and everyone just is looking out that what can I do to like make sure I keep my job, and they just want all these things to be perfect. And I'm like, it doesn't, like, the less perfect it is, probably the better it will do, to be honest. But
yeah. It's always interesting, the revisions I get. I'm like, really, that you want that taken out? Okay, that's fine by me. That's no sweat.
Yeah.
But the main thing that throws a wrench in everything is, we love everything, but we need to change the song. I'm like, son of, that's good. That's gonna throw everything off. I have to re-edit everything. And of course I don't tell them that. I'm just like, oh, sure, sounds good. Give me 30 hours. No, it doesn't take that long. But
are you mainly making stuff for the internet?
Like
for reels, I mean?
Yeah. I don't really see myself going anywhere else. I feel like there's a lot of money being exchanged at the internet, and there's a reason why people are on their phones all the time. You know, they're digesting that content. So I think that's where I want to live. I've been on a few movies. I've been on one movie set, and I don't ever want to go back. It's a lot of work, and your job is only doing one thing. So for my role for that time, it was the cameraman. I was director of photography. Basically, I just pressed, record. But it was a lot of work. It was 10-hour days, and
it would be cool to hand off your stuff and have someone else edit all of it. Like that would be pretty dope.
That was fun. That was a perk of the job. But to be honest, I actually like editing. I do too, because you see the story as you're on set or location, and you're just like, okay, that video clip's gonna go there, and you're kind of piecing the puzzle together. Yeah, exactly. So that's why I like doing what I do.
I think about it like a puzzle a lot too. Like, here's my 10 pieces. Where's it all gonna go? Yeah.
Do you ever script anything out?
Not really. I did ask ChatGPT to help me, just to be honest, more for like a formality to make me look professional with the client than like for my own needs. Like, same reason I bring a big light sometimes. Like, oh, he brought all this stuff. Like, we're getting a good deal with this guy. And then I'm like, I could do all this on my phone, and it would look pretty close to the same. But
how do you manage that? Because I mean, shit, there's people making far more money than me using just this guy, and here I am investing in all this gear because kind of I like it. I think it's cool
for sure.
But how do you manage that, or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I have the camera. I like using it. Yeah, and
it's fun.
It does, if you use it in a certain way, it can look different than an iPhone. Unfortunately, Instagram's still 1080p, so you can't get that much of a jump on anything else. But I love my 120 4K slow-mo stuff.
Buttery smooth stuff.
That's one way to like differentiate yourself from a cell phone.
Yeah.
So I do love that. And yeah, I enjoyed using it and learning. I'm still learning how to do video stuff. So, but yeah, I think I could have a good argument when I talk to clients that I should just use my phone, and it would do just as well, if not better, than my camera stuff. I think the more I learn about photography and videography, the lighting is way more important than like almost anything else.
Yep.
And I'm still learning that. Like every time I get a new, bigger softbox or light, I'm like, why didn't I do this sooner? It's like one of the cheaper things, and relative to lenses,
100%. Yeah.
Dude, I need to get bigger, better lights.
Sorry, Resolute Media fucked up pretty big, but I think we caught it probably like 5 minutes in. Anyways, What I was gonna say, imposter syndrome. Cover that.
Lone Star swag.
Lone Star swag. Yeah. Trying to think of what else I wanted to ask you, dude. You kind of covered everything. I just like talking to people about, the start of their company.
Yeah.
And through the,
What episode are you on?
We're on, this will be 8.
Okay.
So I've been pumping them out pretty quick just because now I have the space. The first time I did it, I kind of went out on my own and I thought, okay, let me back up a little bit. So at Silencer Shop, I was tasked at interviewing people who manufacture silencers. And
for like guns?
Yeah, for guns.
Okay.
And I'm like, I know nothing about guns. I know the bare minimum about silencers. And you want me to ask these individuals, like, have them on a podcast?
Yeah.
I
think that would be a good position to be in to have a podcast.
Yeah, great.
You could just ask questions for hours.
Well, it was about like 10 minutes in that I realized I needed, like, I'm finding out about these individuals and like they have a cool backstory. They come from military background. They come from an engineering background and they're into this very niche industry. And in a very niche industry, it's about the silencer too, but it's also about the person who's making it, in my opinion. Because when I buy something, I want to know who's making it. I want to know if like I can go grab a beer with them. Yep. And so like as I'm interviewing these individuals, I'm like, we should do this over a beer. This would be awesome. And then I left in 2021 to start my own thing. And I don't know if you know this, but when you start your own business, there's not a little business coming to you. So you got to, keep yourself busy. So I was doing this elaborate setup at Nomadic Beer Works. Yeah. I talked to the owners. I'm like, hey, can I do this cool thing in your business? And they're like, absolutely. So Dan, and I forget his brother's name, my bad, but he was like, yeah, totally. Just do it, during slow business hours, which is at 11 a.m. So I ran 3 cameras. I had to go rent a light because I didn't have it. I was spending like $200 at a time that I didn't have.
Yeah, and then a couple hours editing, probably.
But it was fine. I didn't have any clients at the time. But then I started getting busier and busier, and I'm like, okay, logistically, I can't do this anymore. Logistically, I can't afford this anymore.
Yeah.
But then once I developed this garage, I was like, okay, cool. Now we can get back into it, and I could just simplify it even more. So that way, it's more about the conversation than it is about the production value. Because yes, I want to do 3 camera setup at some point, but if there's no one watching it, then what's the point?
Yeah.
And I was very influenced by Matt and Shane's Secret podcast and how terrible they do it.
Yeah.
But it worked for their brand.
Yeah.
It's like, it's
very authentic.
Exactly.
Well, I always tell people that, like, at least on the content side or AustinEater side of things, and it is true. And it's a weird balance between if it's strictly for social media, what works versus what like looks nice. Like The Office and Friends are like the most popular shows on streaming.
Yeah.
And it's not 4K. It's not because of the cinematics.
Yeah, it's not cinematically lit.
It's like it's valuable in the entertainment, like, so.
And it's authentic.
Yeah, like you could do that across the board, and there's plenty of pages. There's a page I talk about all the time. Good restaurant as well, but the Instagram page, Jew Boy Burger.
Oh yeah,
if you're familiar, Mo runs that. Mo's the owner. It's mediocre. Sorry, Mo. The pictures are very mediocre. It's with a cell phone. But they get like 1,000 likes because people know Mo wrote the post.
Yeah.
Mo took the picture. They like Mo. Like, it doesn't always have to look like a commercial, even though I love using my camera and I love flexing the gear. If you're talking about getting eyeballs on things and turning that into butts and seats, it doesn't always have to be polished.
Right.
I think there's a time and place for it, and I think you need to remind people how nice things can look sometimes and post that headshot or that portrait, whether that's of an actual person or like of the cheeseburger.
Yeah.
But a lot of time it just needs to be conversational and valuable, whether that's inside information, behind the scenes stuff, funny, whatever that looks like.
Right.
That does much better than the really polished stuff. That lacks that. You can combine both sometimes, but if it lacks that first part, it's not going to work very well, and it's a waste of money.
I again, going back to social media, there's just a lot of dumb stuff that I'm not into, and I think there's a lot of good stories out there, but we're focusing on the trendy stuff that works. And granted, that's a good game plan to have to play those games, but I just want to hear more stories because there's cool things in industries that you're not aware of. There's cool individuals that are doing cool things you're not aware of.
Yeah.
And I want to meet those people. So that way maybe we can get more people into those industries that we desperately need, like Mike Rove. You're familiar with him?
Yep.
Like the whole point of Dirty Jobs was to, show these individuals doing very important things for our society that has to be done. And now I'm very fearful that all the kids want to do is just have their own podcast like we're doing now. But I mean, those job roles are, I don't know. I'm very scared that they're not going to be fulfilled.
The podcasts that do well are with people that have lived a life and have mastered something, and they have interesting things to say.
Right.
If you start when you're 20 and you don't have anything, to lean on.
Yeah.
What are you the expert? Like what value are you bringing to the listener? No. Now there are some funny people. There's some funny kids out there that have podcasts, and that's the value that they're bringing.
Sure.
But yeah, that's the thing. It's like, and what I was thinking about recently with some of my stuff is like, you need to provide some value that's like maybe more on the educational side of things.
Yes. Yeah.
I did a post recently with another person I work with a lot, Tony at Side Eye Pie, and it was a little mixture of like a little food porn, but it was more of like he's gonna walk me through making his favorite thing.
That's awesome. That's great.
Mic'd up and put some stuff together, and it was like 3 minutes. That's kind of my sweet spot for like a micro podcast, or like sit down with somebody. We have a little conversation beforehand, jump into like them making something, and usually end up just using the intro to like the whole thing. Not really a lot of the conversation, but just getting in, especially if the person, which Tony has a lot of personality and he's a character.
Yeah.
It did really well. I think
that's
30,000 people saw it.
That's that's awesome. That's what we like. I want to know who's making my food. I want to know who I'm giving my money to. I want to hear these stories.
Yep.
So that way it makes me feel better about going to this place. And then I could tell my friends, hey, you should go here because the chef's awesome. That's
definitely my strategy.
That's great. I love that.
It's like, it's sort of flexing the relationships I've built. Like there are some cool people. Fermin's going to do it he's from Suerte and Este. He's a fantastic chef. I've become friends with him.
Awesome.
Become friends with Reina from Veracruz. Her and her sister started Veracruz. So I have some good relationships with people that like are very important in the Austin food scene.
Yeah.
And just like showing that I'm friends with them for one, and like picking their brains and having people listen. And hopefully walk me through like their favorite dish. So hopefully that evolves, but that seems to be something that is both trendy and people get some value from, so it's going to work well, and something I like to do where it's not like, here's the top 5 places you need to go in Austin. And it's like, that post will always do well, but I lose people's respect because it's not authentic, and it's just a silly gimmick to get views. And there are people that have done that for a long time, and their page is consistent and it grows, but like no one really trusts them. You can have entertaining stuff that does well on the internet and people like to watch, but it doesn't mean that they like you or trust you or will show up to the place that you're posting about.
Right.
And ultimately that's kind of what I want to do. I want to post something and have people show up and try it.
Yeah.
And not look like a damn fool more than I already do. Yeah,
I think there is there's a need for longer storytelling on social media, because now it's just like we're going to get to zero in our attention span, and then it's got to just go back up, in my opinion. So the whole storytelling thing I think it has to be there.
Cheap hook to get them, which I do. I'm definitely doing that
from
time to time. But then it's not always a great video. It's that you got their attention in 2 seconds and they hit like and then moved on. Like it. So that's the balance I'm trying to walk. Is like still be helpful to the place and not lose face at the same time.
I had a conversation with a DJ here, and he was like, I want to play the popular stuff because that's going to get an audience, but it's not really true to what I want to do. And so he started playing his own music, and he lost audience members. So, but he gained a better following, a more authentic following.
More loyal.
So he took 2 steps back to get, to where he is now. And I'm like, I appreciate that. And I respect that. And, if you ever see, like I said this last podcast, if you ever see me dancing on Instagram, then we're at the bottom of Resolute Media, and there's we're not coming back from that. So hopefully I won't have to do that. And I'm not a good dancer to begin with, but well, dude, it's been over an hour. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, it's flown by. I appreciate you having me out.
Thanks, man. Well, thank you for thank you for taking the time to come do this. I hope you had a good time.
Cool. Well, let me know if I can do anything to help you, and I'll definitely be leaning on you for help.
Please,
in the future
come my way. We can talk some more. But yeah, man.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.